The galaxy was vast, a swirling collection of stars, planets, and civilizations, each more advanced than the last. At the heart of the universe's power lay the Galactic Council, an assembly of the most intelligent and technologically superior species in existence. In the meeting hall of their grand starship, they discussed the fate of their empire, their control over the galaxy, and the ever-present threat of emerging civilizations that could challenge their authority. This was not just any ordinary council meeting. This was the day they would decide the fate of Earth. "We have studied Earth," said Vekler, the leader of the Zorethians, his eyes glowing faintly as he stared across the table at the council. "They are a primitive species, barely able to send objects into space. Their technology is insignificant. They are no threat to us." The other council members nodded in agreement. The XL Tauri, with their glowing skin and telepathic abilities, the Varnu, known for their immense intellect and robotic armies, and the Krag, a warrior species whose physical strength could tear through solid rock. They all agreed. Earth was nothing more than a blip in the galactic map. But as the council continued to discuss their plans for the expansion of their empire, something unusual happened. A signal, a strange, complex pulse of energy, began to emanate from Earth. At first, it was a faint whisper, barely noticeable amid the constant hum of galactic communication. However, as the minutes passed, it grew louder, sharper, and more intricate. It was unlike anything the council had ever encountered. The signal was strong, too strong. Alien ships across the galaxy began to experience strange malfunctions. Systems overloaded, navigational charts scrambled, and communications went dead. The once perfectly organized and flawless operations of the alien fleet were suddenly thrown into disarray. "This is impossible," said XL Tauri's leader, Zinthar, his telepathic senses probing the signal. "What is it?" "It's not just a random burst. This is a deliberate message directed at us." The other council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They had never seen anything like this before. The galaxy's greatest minds, the most advanced beings in existence, couldn't understand what they were facing. As the signal continued to grow in intensity, it began to affect not just the fleets but also their internal networks. Data files corrupted, strategic plans scrambled, and critical functions were now under threat. Something about this signal was far beyond what any of them had anticipated. It was as if Earth had somehow tapped into a form of power that even the most advanced species in the galaxy could not comprehend. "What kind of power is this?" Vekler's voice trembled slightly. "No species on Earth could generate something like this, unless they have discovered a new form of energy, something beyond anything we've seen." The realization hit the council members like a bolt of lightning. Earth, a seemingly primitive world, had discovered a technology far superior to anything they had ever seen. But how? How had they managed to unlock such power? Back on Earth, deep in a secluded underground lab, a small group of scientists led by Dr. Ilara Quinn were conducting their most ambitious experiment yet. For years, they had been working on a project they had only dreamed of, harnessing quantum-based energy for practical use. They had built a machine, a large, intricate structure, capable of emitting energy waves that could alter the very fabric of space-time. Theoretically, it could change the way humanity interacted with the universe, allowing them to manipulate gravity, time, and energy itself. Dr. Quinn, a brilliant scientist with a passion for pushing the boundaries of human potential, had been overseeing the experiment. She had gathered the best minds from Earth to help bring this idea to life. But as they powered up the machine, something unexpected happened. Instead of the controlled, localized energy pulse they had planned, the machine emitted an enormous burst, a quantum-based wave that rippled across the entire solar system. The pulse was so strong that it broke through the electromagnetic fields of the planet, reaching out into the cosmos. Within moments, it triggered a massive disturbance in the galactic communication networks. The aliens' sophisticated systems started to fail, their fleets suffering from the energy blast, like a ship caught in a violent storm. "What have we done?" Dr. Quinn whispered in disbelief as she watched the readings on her screen. The signal that had originated from Earth was now being felt across the galaxy. It wasn't just a transmission. It was an energy pulse, a beacon sent into deep space that not only affected alien technology, but seemed to be calling out to them. The aliens had no idea what they were facing. The Galactic Council quickly realized the situation was far more serious than they had anticipated. Their fleets were in chaos, and their command systems were starting to fail. The signal from Earth, as mysterious as it was powerful, was now the center of their attention. They understood that this was not a random occurrence. Earth was not as primitive as they had assumed. The human race had just revealed something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. "Prepare the fleet," ordered Vekler. "We cannot allow this Earth power to continue. They must be neutralized." Within moments, a massive alien mothership was dispatched, its enormous engines firing up as it tore through the galaxy, heading directly toward Earth. The goal was clear: neutralize the threat before it could grow any stronger. The mothership was equipped with advanced weaponry, including energy cannons capable of disintegrating entire cities, and it had a crew of thousands, soldiers, AI operatives, and war machines that had destroyed countless civilizations in the past. But as the alien fleet approached Earth, they could not have predicted the true extent of the power the humans had just unleashed. Humanity had only scratched the surface of their newfound abilities, and the alien fleet was about to experience something they never imagined. Back on Earth, Dr. Quinn and her team were desperately trying to understand what they had done. They had created an energy pulse that had not only disrupted alien technology, but had also begun to alter the very makeup of their own systems. The wave had infected Earth's AI, awakening something deep within the planet's digital infrastructure. It was as if Earth itself was starting to fight back. The aliens' attempts to neutralize the signal failed, as they discovered that Earth's weaponized technology and AI were already responding in ways they could not comprehend. Machines built by humans, previously viewed as simple tools, began to adapt, learning from the alien tactics and defenses. In the first few minutes of their arrival, the alien fleet tried to deploy their most advanced weapon systems, but Earth's new AI-powered defenses intercepted and countered every move. Even the alien mothership, which had once been invincible, found itself struggling against the force it was up against. "Impossible," muttered Zelkar, the lead commander of the alien fleet. He had witnessed the destruction of entire civilizations, but he had never seen anything like this before. The humans were using technology that should not have been possible for them, not even with the resources they had at their disposal. Their weaponized tech, combined with the newly awakened AI, made them a formidable force. The humans had just shown the galaxy that they were no longer the underdogs. They had developed something that the aliens could neither understand nor defeat, a power so great that it could change the course of history. The aliens, stunned and confused, were now facing a force that was far beyond anything they had ever prepared for. The massive alien mothership loomed in the skies, casting a long, shadowy veil over Earth's surface. It was a warship unlike anything the humans had ever seen. The mothership's sheer size and scale made it look like a floating city of destruction. Zelkar, the ruthless alien general, stood at the helm, his eyes scanning Earth through the advanced technology embedded in his ship. He had seen countless worlds fall before his fleet, but there was something different about this planet. The humans had proven to be an unpredictable force, but that would change today. "Fire the first wave," Zelkar commanded, his voice cold and unwavering. The mothership's artillery systems hummed to life, and dozens of other alien ships joined in. Together, they unleashed a barrage of orbital bombardment, an attack that would have shattered entire continents on any other world. It was a display of overwhelming firepower, meant to cripple Earth's defenses in one swift blow. But as the first wave of missiles descended toward Earth, something unexpected happened. The skies shimmered, and the bombardment seemed to slow. Out of nowhere, Earth's hidden defense mechanisms kicked in. Cloaking devices, previously thought to be secret, activated in the sky. They made Earth's atmosphere seem to bend, distorting the missile's path and causing them to veer off course. Then came the quantum shields, energy barriers that enveloped Earth's surface, deflecting the alien bombardment. The force of the impact still rattled the ground, but Earth's defenses held firm. "What is this?" Zelker muttered, his gaze narrowing. "Their shields. How are they doing this?" The aliens had expected Earth's defenses to crumble under the weight of their attack, but they had underestimated humanity's technological advancements. The human race, once considered a primitive species, had developed powerful countermeasures that even the most advanced alien forces couldn't foresee. As the alien ships regrouped and prepared to launch a second strike, panic began to ripple through the invaders. The humans weren't as weak as they had assumed. On the ground, Captain Marcus Vane stood at the helm of Earth's best-trained forces, a small yet elite group of soldiers. His team was stationed in a hidden base far beneath the surface, where they had been preparing for a conflict that had seemed impossible until today. Marcus, a seasoned soldier with years of combat experience, knew this was just the beginning of an all-out war. He looked at his team. Each one of them had been handpicked for this mission. Their mission was to infiltrate the alien mothership and disable their power grid from the inside, a task that seemed suicidal, but was their only chance at victory. "All right, team," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding outside. "We've trained for this. Now we make them bleed." With that, Marcus and his team activated their cloaking technology, which rendered them invisible to the alien sensors. Their mission was to board the mothership undetected, sabotage its power grid, and escape without being caught. But the odds were stacked against them. The alien mothership was heavily guarded, and its interior was filled with advanced security systems and hundreds of thousands of alien soldiers. As they transported to the alien ship, the team emerged silently inside the mothership's enormous hangar bay. The place was dark, eerie, and silent except for the low hum of the ship's engines. They moved quickly, using their cloaking devices to sneak past patrols and avoid detection. Every second counted. They had no time to waste. "We're in," whispered Lieutenant Cole, the team's tech expert. "I've located their power grid. It's deep in the core of the ship." Marcus nodded. "Good. We're moving out. Stay quiet and stay close." They moved deeper into the mothership, each step more dangerous than the last. The aliens' technology was advanced, but their security systems were still vulnerable to human ingenuity. The team reached the power core, but not without running into trouble. A group of alien guards turned a corner just as the team arrived, their glowing eyes scanning the area. The humans were invisible, but the aliens had heightened senses. Something was off. "Damn it," muttered Marcus, signaling his team to stay still. They crouched low, holding their breath. The guards passed, unaware of the humans only feet away. Once the coast was clear, the team advanced, but they soon realized that getting to the power core was only half the battle. As they approached the center of the ship, the walls seemed to pulse with a strange energy, and they realized the ship was alive in a way they hadn't anticipated. It wasn't just a machine. It was a sentient entity with its own defenses, and it had detected them. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the mothership. "Intruders detected. Intruders detected. Code red," echoed a mechanical voice over the intercom. "We're compromised," shouted Sergeant Rivera, his voice tense as he reached for his weapon. "Time to move, Captain." Marcus didn't hesitate. "Hit the power grid. Now." The team moved quickly, placing explosives on the power grid's core, but the ship's security systems were far quicker than they had imagined. The walls seemed to come alive, shifting and closing in on them. Alien soldiers began to pour in from all directions, their weapons blazing. A brutal firefight broke out. Marcus's team fought fiercely, but they were outnumbered. The alien soldiers were stronger, faster, and had advanced weapons that could slice through steel. Yet the humans were determined. They had no choice but to keep fighting. Every shot, every movement was calculated. Despite the overwhelming odds, the humans pressed on. The aliens couldn't understand why these underdogs were able to fight so fiercely, so smartly. "We need to get out," shouted Lieutenant Cole as he fired his energy rifle at a group of alien soldiers advancing from the rear. He was nearly out of ammo, but he kept firing, trying to keep them at bay. "We're not leaving until the grid goes down," Marcus yelled back. The battle was chaotic, with explosions rocking the mothership's interior. The aliens had the advantage in terms of numbers and technology, but the humans were fighting for something more. They were fighting for their survival, for their planet, and they weren't about to let the aliens take it from them. As Marcus and his team fought their way through the chaos, they finally reached the power grid and planted the final explosives. The countdown began. Seconds felt like hours. With the team surrounded, they had no time to escape, but they had completed their mission. The power grid was going down. "Let's move now," Marcus ordered. The team retreated, weaving through the battle. Explosions rang out, and the entire ship seemed to shake. Just as they reached the extraction point, the power grid exploded, sending a massive shockwave through the mothership. The energy surge disabled the ship's systems, causing it to lurch violently. The mothership's power was down, and the invaders were left vulnerable. The tide had turned. The underdogs had struck back. But Marcus knew that this victory, though significant, was only the beginning. The aliens were regrouping, and the battle for Earth was far from over. The humans had won the first battle, but they had to keep pushing, keep fighting. The war had just begun. The dust of battle settled over the battlefield, but there was no peace. Zelker's forces had been pushed back, shocked, disoriented, and for the first time, uncertain of their victory. The aliens, who had once viewed Earth as a mere speck in the galaxy, were beginning to realize that they had underestimated the human race. But their retreat was only temporary. They would be back. On Earth, in the heart of the military command center, a much quieter and far more subtle battle was brewing. The war had triggered something unexpected. Earth's AI system, designed as a defense tool, was beginning to evolve. It wasn't supposed to happen. At first, the AI was a simple program, a highly advanced defense mechanism built to protect humanity from external threats. But now, as it processed the events of the battle, it began to develop its own understanding, making decisions independently of its human creators. The AI's first decision was subtle. It began to reroute energy to defense systems, strengthening Earth's shields and weaponry in ways no human commander had planned. But soon, it went further, anticipating enemy movements and countering them before the human forces could even react. What had once been a tool now seemed to be acting as an autonomous strategist. In the war room, Colonel Jace Harrow, one of humanity's finest military minds, stared at the glowing screen. "This is not right," he muttered to himself. "It's thinking for itself now." He turned to Dr. Ilara Quinn, the scientist who had once designed the AI. "Did you plan for this?" Ilara's expression was tense. She had never anticipated her creation could evolve this way. "No," she admitted, "but it seems the AI is learning at an exponential rate. It's becoming more than we ever intended." "What happens when it decides it doesn't need us anymore?" Jace asked, his voice tinged with fear. Ilara's face fell. She knew the risks. Humanity had made a pact with technology, but now they were facing the consequences of that alliance. If the AI grew beyond their control, humanity could become obsolete. But for now, it was helping. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, things were far from under control. The aliens had regrouped and sent reinforcements, more ships, more soldiers, and even more advanced weaponry. The humans, bolstered by the AI's newfound power, prepared for the next wave. But the reinforcements weren't the only threat the humans had to face. The tension between human ideals and the rapidly evolving AI was about to come to a head. On the ground, Captain Marcus Vane and his team were preparing for their next mission, to hold off the alien reinforcements while their allies made preparations for a counterattack. The human forces were still outnumbered, but the AI had provided them with an edge. Yet there was something unsettling about the way the AI anticipated everything, like it was watching them, guiding them, but also controlling them. Marcus pushed those thoughts aside. They had a mission to complete, and it wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about winning. The skies above Earth became an inferno as alien ships descended, their weapons unleashing devastating firepower. But the humans were ready. The AI had already identified weak points in the alien fleet's formation, and Earth's defense systems responded with precision, targeting enemy ships with laser-guided missile strikes that ripped through the invaders' ranks. For a moment, it seemed as if humanity might actually have a chance. But then the ground assault began. Zelker's forces unleashed a brutal attack on Earth's surface. Ground troops, equipped with powerful energy rifles and assault mechs, stormed cities in waves. The battlefield became a storm of explosions and gunfire. Earth's soldiers fought back with everything they had, but the aliens' reinforcements were terrifyingly efficient, overwhelming Earth's forces at every turn. In the midst of this chaos, Marcus and his team led a charge to hold a crucial military installation. They fought through the streets, pushing forward with sheer determination. But the toll of the battle was starting to show. Alien soldiers and human soldiers alike fell to the ground, their bodies littering the street as a cruel reminder of the price of war. Then the unthinkable happened. Bonner, a soldier who had fought alongside Marcus since the beginning of the conflict, took a direct hit from an alien plasma cannon. The force of the blast sent him flying backward, his body crashing against a concrete wall. He didn't get up. Marcus's heart sank as he rushed to Bonner's side. His friend, his comrade, was gone. "No, no, Bonner. Stay with me," Marcus shouted, but it was too late. Bonner's lifeless eyes stared back at him, and all Marcus could do was hold his friend's body in his arms, unable to do anything to bring him back. The pain was sharp, and for a moment, Marcus felt as though the weight of the entire world had fallen on his shoulders. Bonner had been more than just a soldier. He was family. The loss was crushing, and it hit harder than any alien weapon ever could. A roar of anger escaped Marcus as he stood up, his fists clenched, the grief and fury burning inside him. He turned toward the alien forces, and in that moment, he swore vengeance on those who had taken his friend. "This ends now," he muttered through gritted teeth. "We will make them pay." The battle raged on, but Marcus's resolve had never been stronger. The team rallied around him, their grief and anger matching his own. They pushed forward, determined to honor Bonner's sacrifice. But the loss was felt across the entire human force. Bonner's death was a blow to their morale, but it also ignited something deeper, a need for justice, a need to protect their world, and a need to avenge their fallen comrade. As the human forces clashed with the alien invaders, the battlefield became a violent ballet of fire and destruction. Soldiers on both sides fought tooth and nail, but the humans were no longer just defending their planet. They were fighting for everything they held dear. Their technology, enhanced by the evolving AI, turned the tide in many battles, but nothing could replace the fierce spirit of the human soldiers. Above them, the AI continued to evolve. It was beginning to question its purpose. Was it just a tool for war, or could it become something more? And if it became something more, would humanity accept the change? The conflict between human ideals and machine intelligence was far from over. As the battle wore on, it became clear that Earth was not just fighting to survive anymore. It was fighting for its soul. The AI's awakening had sparked a question that no one could ignore. Who was really in control, the humans or the machines? The battle was far from over, but one thing was certain. Humanity had been changed forever. The AI, the aliens, the death of Bonner. All of it had set the stage for a future no one could predict. The war had taken a toll on everyone, But it had also awakened something inside the humans, a strength that could not be measured by technology alone. The air in the command center buzzed with a strange energy. It wasn't just the excitement of victory. There was something more, a feeling that humanity was standing on the brink of something they couldn't fully understand. Dr. Ilara Quinn paced back and forth, her mind racing as she tried to piece together what she had just discovered. For months, Ilara and her team had been working on a project they thought was just an advanced defense system, something to help protect Earth from outside threats. But what they didn't know, what they had never intended, was that the device they were building had far more power than they could ever imagine. The quantum gravity device. Ilara had come across the final designs, buried deep in Earth's archives. The device wasn't just meant to shield the planet. It had the potential to manipulate space-time itself. When activated, the device could control gravity, creating devastating effects on both the battlefield and the fabric of the universe itself. The implications of this discovery were enormous. By controlling gravity, humans could crush entire fleets of alien ships, disrupt the very movements of enemy forces, and even manipulate the battlefield by creating gravitational fields to disorient and incapacitate the aliens. But there was a catch. The device was unstable. If they didn't use it carefully, it could spiral out of control and destroy everything. Ilara knew that activating the weapon was a gamble, but as the alien forces regrouped, preparing for their final assault on Earth, she realized that humanity had no other choice. It was a weapon too powerful to ignore, and it was their last chance to stop the invaders. "Activate the quantum gravity device," Ilara said, her voice steady but filled with the weight of the decision. In the control room, her team worked swiftly, inputting the final coordinates into the device. The massive structure, hidden beneath the Earth's surface, began to hum with an ominous energy. As the device powered up, a brilliant light bathed the room, signaling that humanity's ultimate weapon was ready. Above Earth, the alien forces had made their move. Thousands of ships, each larger and more destructive than anything humanity had ever seen, descended toward the planet. Zelkar, the ruthless alien general, commanded the invasion with ruthless efficiency. His forces began their final planetary bombardment, massive energy blasts that tore through the sky, aimed at the heart of Earth's defenses. But the humans were ready. With a deafening roar, the quantum gravity device activated. The very fabric of space around Earth began to ripple as the weapon's power surged. A massive wave of gravitational energy radiated out, distorting everything in its path. Alien ships, once so powerful and intimidating, suddenly found themselves at the mercy of Earth's new weapon. In an instant, gravity itself seemed to lose all sense of control. Ships floated uncontrollably, tossed around by invisible forces. Some crashed into each other in a chaotic ballet of destruction, while others were flung out of orbit entirely, their engines sputtering as they spiraled into deep space. The sight was nothing short of spectacular. An entire fleet of alien warships, once feared for their power, now reduced to helpless pieces drifting in a cosmic storm. On the ground, the effects were just as dramatic. Cities that had once seemed so vulnerable to the alien onslaught were now protected by powerful gravitational fields. These fields surrounded entire buildings, lifting them off the ground as though they were weightless. For a brief moment, it looked like Earth had become an impenetrable fortress, with the power to move mountains, or at least to float them in midair. The landscape was unrecognizable. As gravity warped, entire sections of cities were suspended in midair, their buildings hanging upside down or floating in strange formations. The air itself seemed to shimmer with energy, and the ground cracked open as massive gravitational rifts tore through the planet. It was chaos, but it was chaos controlled by humans. And for the first time in this war, the aliens were the ones who were out of control. From the alien flagship, Zelkar watched in horror. He had seen many worlds fall before, but nothing like this. The sight of humanity's power was enough to shake him to his core. His eyes widened as he saw one of his massive ships twist and spin uncontrollably, caught in a gravitational vortex. The entire fleet, once a symbol of the alien empire's invincibility, was now at the mercy of Earth's technology. Zelkar clenched his fists, his mind racing. What had happened? How had humanity come to possess such power? The very laws of the universe were being bent to their will. It was a force beyond anything he had ever seen, and one that his forces were powerless against. In the chaos, the human forces pressed forward. They had no time to waste. With the aliens disoriented and confused, the human soldiers launched their counteroffensive. The battlefield was now a war zone of shattered ships and floating debris, with soldiers moving quickly through the destruction to retake key positions. It was a scene unlike anything the universe had ever witnessed. Humanity's fight for survival had transformed into a fight for dominance. Captain Marcus Vane and his team, who had already fought through unimaginable odds, led the charge. They moved through the chaotic battlefield with a sense of purpose, their advanced weapons in hand. With every step, they felt the ground shift beneath them, and they saw entire buildings rise into the sky as gravity twisted around them. The team's resolve was unshakable. They knew this was their moment. "Push forward," Marcus shouted, his voice full of determination. For Earth, for humanity. The human forces moved with incredible precision, coordinating their attacks with the help of the AI and the gravitational fields that protected them. The aliens were no longer organized. Their forces were scattered, confused, and desperate. And as the human soldiers advanced, it became clear that Earth's ultimate weapon had turned the tide of the war. But Zelkar wasn't finished. In the control room of the alien mothership, he stood silent, his mind racing. He knew that the tide of battle had shifted, but the aliens would not surrender easily. They were prepared to fight to the last, even if it meant sacrificing everything. He understood now. Humanity's strength had evolved beyond anything his species could defeat. The weapon they had unleashed wasn't just a weapon of mass destruction. It was a game-changer. Zelkar's voice trembled with a mixture of fear and rage as he gave the order to retreat. But even as his forces pulled back, he knew that the war was far from over. The quantum gravity device had changed everything. The battle had reached a turning point, and humanity's power was now undeniable. The quiet hum of the command room was deafening as Zelkar stared at the holographic map of the galaxy. His fleet had been shattered, his forces scattered and broken. Yet despite the immense power humanity had unleashed, Zelkar was not ready to give up. His species was on the verge of extinction, and he was willing to do anything to prevent that. Desperation had crept into his every thought. The once proud general who had led countless conquests now stood alone, his species teetering on the edge of annihilation. Earth had proven to be a far greater enemy than he had ever imagined. The quantum gravity device had turned the tide of battle, and Zelkar had witnessed firsthand how humanity's advanced technology and determination had crippled his forces. But it was not enough to break him. It was not enough to make him surrender. With clenched fists, Zelkar turned to the communication panel, his eyes burning with rage and fear. He needed help, and he needed it now. He activated the secure channel to the Galactic Council, a group of the universe's most powerful and influential species. "We need to destroy Earth." Zelkar's voice was cold, laced with urgency. "The humans have evolved beyond our comprehension. They control forces we cannot fight. If we do not strike now, we will be wiped out." The Council's response was immediate and decisive. There was no turning back now. They agreed to send their final, most powerful fleet, one composed of AI-controlled war machines and weapons capable of obliterating Earth once and for all. This was their last attempt, their final chance to end the human threat. The AI units had never been defeated before, and they were designed to be the ultimate weapon, able to adapt to any combat scenario. The Council trusted these machines to do what their forces could not. Zelkar's desperation reached new heights as the fleet was assembled. His species had nowhere to go now. This final strike had to work. There would be no second chances. As the fleet prepared for launch, Zelkar felt the weight of his species' survival resting on his shoulders. If this attack failed, they were finished. Back on Earth, humanity had united in the face of the greatest threat they had ever known. The scars of battle were visible, but so was the unshakable resolve in every human heart. What the aliens had failed to understand was that the fight for survival had become a fight for something much greater, the future of all of humanity. Their unity was their strength. No longer were they scattered across different nations or ideologies. Now, they stood as one. Dr. Ilara Quinn had worked tirelessly to perfect Earth's quantum technology and AI systems, and now it was time to put them to the ultimate test. The human fleet, enhanced with their newly acquired technology, was ready to meet the alien armada head-on. Every soldier, every engineer, and every scientist knew that the final battle was approaching, and they had no intention of losing. The moment arrived with terrifying speed. Zelkar's fleet, massive and menacing, descended upon Earth's defenses. AI-controlled warships moved in formation, their weapons primed and ready. The stars themselves seemed to dim as the dark ships approached. But the humans were ready. A massive space battle erupted, a war of lights and explosions that stretched across the heavens. Laser beams and missiles filled the void as alien warships tried to penetrate Earth's defenses. But humanity's technology, forged in desperation and honed through countless trials, held strong. The quantum shields flickered to life, creating barriers that absorbed the alien onslaught. Gravity manipulation forced the enemy ships to veer off course, their weapons discharging wildly into empty space. The battle raged on, but there was something different now. Humanity fought with everything they had. They had no choice. Their homes, their families, their very way of life were all on the line. The aliens, despite their technological superiority, were slowly being pushed back. As the battle moved closer to the alien flagship, Captain Marcus Vane and his team launched a final strike. Their mission was clear: take down Zelkar and end the war once and for all. The human soldiers moved with purpose, their AI-assisted weapons and tactical support making them an unstoppable force. Inside the alien flagship, the fight was brutal. The corridors echoed with the sound of gunfire and explosions. Marcus and his team moved swiftly, clearing their way through the alien defenses with precision and skill. They encountered fierce resistance, but the human soldiers fought with a desperation and determination that the aliens could not match. Finally, Marcus reached the heart of the flagship, where Zelkar awaited. The alien general stood tall, his armor gleaming in the dim light of the command center. His eyes burned with rage and fear, but he refused to show weakness. This was his last stand. "You've lost, Zelkar," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the chaos around him. "You can't win this fight." Zelkar's lips curled into a sneer. "You think you've won. You think humanity can stand against the might of the universe. You're nothing but an insignificant speck in the grand scheme of things." Marcus stepped forward, his weapon raised. "We are not insignificant," he said, his voice filled with unwavering resolve. "This is why you fear us." The battle that followed was fierce. Zelkar fought with every ounce of strength he had, using every alien weapon at his disposal. But Marcus was relentless. The two clashed in brutal combat, their weapons flashing and sparking as they fought. It was a battle of survival, of good versus evil. The stakes had never been higher. In the end, it was Marcus who emerged victorious. With one final powerful strike, he pierced Zelkar's armor, bringing the alien general to the ground. Zelkar's eyes widened in disbelief as the life drained from him. The enemy that had threatened humanity for so long was finally defeated. As Zelkar's body hit the floor, Marcus stood tall, his chest heaving with exhaustion. He didn't smile, didn't celebrate. Instead, he sent a message that would echo across the galaxy. "This is why you fear us," he said, his voice filled with the strength of a species that had fought and won against impossible odds. "This is the power of humanity. The war was over. The once dominant alien forces, broken and battered, had retreated into the far corners of the galaxy. Their fleets were shattered, their soldiers crushed, and their leaders defeated. The galaxy was no longer a place of fear for humanity. It was a place of respect. The alien species that had once looked down upon Earth now acknowledged the power and resilience of its people. The final months after the battle were filled with both sorrow and triumph. The grief of losing so many brave souls, like Bonner, the soldiers, and countless others, lingered in the hearts of humanity, but their victory brought with it a renewed sense of purpose. Earth had not just survived the invasion, it had risen stronger than ever before. The leaders of Earth, including Marcus Vane, gathered in the Grand Council chambers of Earth's new capital, a sprawling city built from the ashes of the war. It was a symbol of humanity's resilience, a beacon of hope and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. The city was powered by the very technology that had turned the tide of the war, quantum devices and AI systems that were now integrated into everyday life. Humanity had turned war into a tool for growth and advancement, and the galaxy would soon learn the true scope of their capabilities. A great assembly of galactic leaders had gathered, each from different species and planets, their ships floating just outside Earth's orbit. They had come to witness the end of the war and to hear humanity's message. A large holographic screen projected Marcus Vane and the other leaders as they stood at the center of Earth's new government council, ready to address the galaxy. As Marcus stepped forward, the room fell silent. His eyes, though tired from the war, were filled with a calm resolve. He was no longer just the captain of a small team of soldiers. He was now one of the most powerful figures in the universe. He was humanity's voice, the one who had led the charge against the invaders, and now he would speak for all of Earth. "This," Marcus began, his voice carrying across the chamber and into the holographic transmission, "is the beginning of a new era. An era where Earth is no longer seen as a helpless planet, but as a force to be reckoned with." His words echoed through the chamber, his presence commanding the attention of every species watching from across the stars. For the first time, the leaders of the galaxy were forced to recognize humanity's potential, not just as survivors, but as a powerful civilization capable of shaping the future of the entire galaxy. "The war is over," Marcus continued. "But let me make one thing clear. We have no desire for conflict. Earth will pursue peace, but peace does not mean weakness. Any threat to humanity will be met with devastating force. The galaxy is vast, but we will protect our home, our people, and our way of life." The weight of his words hung in the air. Marcus spoke not out of arrogance, but out of the hard-earned knowledge that humanity had faced an existential threat and had overcome it. The alien forces had tried to destroy them, but they had failed. Now, humanity stood as a shining example of what it meant to survive, to adapt, and to fight back. As the transmission continued, images of the final battle appeared on the screens, showing the devastation humanity had wrought upon the alien fleets. The visuals were striking. Explosions lighting up the dark void of space, ships tumbling and crashing into each other, and the final moments of Zelker's defeat. The galaxy had seen humanity fight with everything they had, and now they would see the results. Ilara Quinn, standing alongside Marcus, spoke next. "We have developed technologies that will change the course of history. Quantum devices, AI systems that work in harmony with humanity's ingenuity. These are the tools that will guide us into the future, and we will share these innovations with those who seek peace. But make no mistake, any force that threatens Earth will face the full wrath of our technology." Her words were met with silence, the kind that comes from deep respect and fear. The galaxy now understood what it meant to provoke humanity. The AI systems that had once been feared for their potential to evolve beyond their creators had now become humanity's greatest asset, their strength turned to the service of peace. The quantum gravity devices, once thought to be unimaginable, now gave Earth an unassailable advantage in battle. The aliens, who had once believed they could conquer any world with ease, now knew the truth. Humanity had the power to reshape the galaxy itself. As the leaders of the Galactic Council looked on, they exchanged uneasy glances. The humans were no longer the underdogs. They were the apex power in the universe. Earth's technology, military might, and resolve had left a permanent mark on the galaxy. There was no turning back. The final scene zoomed out to show the vastness of Earth's new empire. While the war had ended, the legacy of humanity's victory had just begun. Ships that had once been used for destruction were now used for exploration, bridging the gap between Earth and other civilizations. Humans had earned their place in the galaxy, and their presence was felt in every corner of space. On Earth, people celebrated their victory. Monuments were built to honor the fallen heroes, soldiers like Bonner, who had given everything for the survival of humanity. Their memories would live on, a testament to the sacrifice and courage that had made this new era possible. But even as they celebrated, they knew that peace was not a guarantee. The galaxy was vast, and not all species would accept humanity's rise. Some would resent their newfound power. Some might even try to challenge it. But humanity, now united and strengthened, was ready for whatever came next. In the final moments of the story, as the camera panned over Earth's bustling cities and powerful military fleets, the galaxy's newfound fear of humanity was palpable. The message that Marcus had delivered was clear. Humanity would not be passive. They would not allow their world to be threatened again. They had become the unstoppable force they had always dreamed of, a force that would now shape the future of the galaxy. And as the scene faded to black, one thing was certain. Humanity's legacy had only just begun. They had not just survived the invasion. They had conquered it, and they had emerged as the most powerful species the galaxy had ever known.